Sahotinde AI Yisinasha. And I just introduced myself in Navajo to you. And my tribe that I'm affiliated with is Dene or Navajo. I am originally from Window Rock, Arizona, small town on the Navajo reservation. And I just shared with you my 4 clans. But I wanted to, I also work with Brigham Young University at this time, and I have been there now for, let's see, it's been about 10 years right now, and I have enjoyed my time there and get to do a lot of different things. So I've got some responsibilities over there. So I work in the Dean of Students office. I'm an assistant to the Dean, as well as an advisor to our multicultural students, specifically our Native American students. And that's on campus, that's prospective students like our young ones here today. And it's also working with our alumni as well, our Native American alumni. So I am very grateful for the responsibilities that I have, and mostly because I get to a chance to visit and talk with people in the community and share with you different things about BYU and such opportunities and things. But I wanted to share a little bit of our website, since I'm not there really in person. So I'm going to just share a little bit if I can do that. I'm going to try that. Okay, everyone can see my screen. So this is our multicultural student services, and many of our students will come through this office. This website is at the top. It's at multicultural.byu.edu. And this tells a little bit about the things that we do in this office, in the Multicultural Student Services office. And we get to serve students from all parts of the world with different ethnicities. And namely, this one is our Native American students. So we get to work with them through this office. And there you can kind of see at the top, there's some different tabs, but most of what we do in the office is advisement. That's anywhere from class selections all the way through like majors, trying to figure that part out, maybe career services a little bit, and then also just different things about the student. That could even mean financial things. And I know tonight we're kind of focused on the financial piece of it, but the other things that this office also is responsible for is doing a lot of different referrals to different places on campus or even off campus. And so we want to share information and things like that. Now, as I talk a little bit more about the financial piece, just let me know if there are any questions. And maybe, Annalise, if you can kind of just look out for that. I'll look out myself too, but if I kind of miss somebody, just let me know. One thing about the financial piece, as far as scholarships, this office gives scholarships. And we don't get to, just give scholarships just to any student. It's usually financial need based, and so our office gets to work with our students that way. Now, you don't have to be like Pell Grant eligible or anything like that to only get a scholarship from our office. Sometimes we do have students who their parents are making some good and decent money, but we all know parents have a house to pay for. They've got maybe a car or two to pay for, and braces and different things. And so mom and dad are paying for those things, but who's helping the student, right? And so our office does get to work and explore some of those things with our students. And then also eventually we do get to give them a scholarship. The other thing that is really nice about our office, especially with our Native American students, is looking at other scholarship opportunities. And this is going to include off-campus scholarships. So it might be from your own tribe, and we talk about those different things. It might be from other Native American scholarship agencies. And so I'll usually work with the students that way, but it's always good and it's always best to do your FAFSA. And I believe tonight, as students and as parents, you'll get an opportunity to learn a little bit about that, I believe. So that's a little bit about us. And if you've got any questions, let me know. Actually, I do have a question for all of you. What grades are represented here from our students tonight? Can I see that? You could either put it in the chat or open it up and tell me what grades you're in. Okay, so I see the chat. So we've got 12th grade, 12th, we have an 11th grader, 12th, seniors. Okay, so right now for our seniors, if you're applying to BYU, how many have applied by show of hands to BYU? Okay, okay. I see at least one hand. Maybe there might be others. But so we just finished and had our deadline back in December. So that is going to be our deadline for admissions to fall semester. Okay. And if you're in the 11th grade, so that's the limbs, if you're in the 11th grade, then I am going to encourage you to consider strongly our college prep program, which happens this summer, and it's called SOAR. It's an acronym, SOAR, and it stands for Summer of Academic Refinement. And so that's a program for our students where you get to learn a little bit more about college, about the different resources on campus, and also learn how to strengthen your application. You work with advisors, full-time advisors, and then also there are student mentors who are like in their junior, senior year. And it's really a program that is tailored to our 11th graders so that they get a chance to maybe live on campus for a week at BYU, or even we will also have an online program for 1 week. And so you get the best of learning how to navigate college applications, how to navigate BYU and the different resources. And a lot of times, you know, it's also, I think it's a really great help and a great resource for even other places that you may want to apply to. And that could be other BYU schools or even non-BYU schools. So you get a whole team of people to help you, and we want to help you succeed and get to college and then start that path. So it's definitely a great program. And if there's any questions, you know, you can always ask. I don't see any questions right now. Okay. And I'll just show you really quick the SOAR for the 11th graders. So this is where you would go. There's our SOAR, and that's the college prep program. There's different parts of, you know, lots of different information there. We've got the application opening up here on February 1st. So it's coming up very soon, and we close on April 1st as well. And then we'll send out, you know, those invitations hopefully in after April. And so we'll get that going. There's also the dates of when those the college prep program is offered, and it's 3 times during the summer. So take a look, check out the website. Okay. All right. If there's no questions at this time.
How much does the SOAR program cost?
Okay, good. That's a really good question. So right now, I'm going to say it kind of depends. So if you're going in person, typically our cost in the past has been about $350, and there are scholarships. We do give scholarships. We have friends to BYU who want to do this, and typically the scholarship pays for $300 of it, and then the family is left to pay the $50. And sometimes there's, we'll tell students that there are many different ways to kind of earn that $50. Sometimes we've even had the high school actually pay for it as well. So it kind of depends. And then if you're doing our online program, then that'll be $99. So it just kind of depends. And the in-person costs, because it's a little, it's a little higher, and it's because you're actually using the housing on campus. There's food included. We do take a few field trips around town and things like that. So a lot of those costs go to that. But it's definitely something that is very worthwhile. And remember the scholarships, they are need-based as well. And there's actually a couple of ways to do that. One is if you're on the school lunch program, and if you're on the free or reduced school lunch program, you just need to have the business office just send to our office at BYU just a copy saying that I am on the, the school lunch program, the free or reduced, and then we usually will send out scholarships based on that. And same thing for the online one. We also do a scholarship for that, so that we pay for almost $50, and then the family will then be responsible for the remaining $50. So good question. Okay, any others? Okay, so if you have questions, I will be on here for a little while, as well as I will, and in the contact information, I believe my contact information is here right on the website. And so you can go there or look out for us, call our office and ask for Sharon. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Sharon. That was very, very good information. Is it okay? We have about 40 seniors in our school district. Are you okay with me sending out your information to them, the ones that couldn't join tonight?
That is completely fine. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Sharon. We will go ahead and move to UVU, and we will have Justin Allison speak with us.
Sweet. Thank you, Anna, for the invite. And thank you, other counselors from Title VI. It's always good to talk to everyone at Nebo. Is it just Nebo tonight, or is there others? I assume it's just Nebo.
There were others invited as well.
Okay. Well, that's fine. For those Nebo students, I am a product of Nebo School District. I graduated from Maple Mountain High School before attending UVU. So I'm really excited to be able to give back to those who have helped me and help those who are following in my footsteps. And then welcome to the other districts that are here. So my name is Justin Allison. I work at Utah Valley University in the Multicultural Student Services Department. I am the Native American Specialist / academic advisor. So what I do is I help our Native American student population those who are wanting to come to UVU, preparing to come to UVU, those who are at UVU. I help them with the various resources that they may need to be a successful student at UVU. And so as a student at UVU, I always wanted to find those resources to help me succeed, and I had a lot of good mentors over there. So I hope to do the same to y'all. So I'm going to share my screen really quick. Let me see how I can do this.
I believe that Erin will have to stop sharing her screen.
All right, Sharon or Erin, may you? Okay.
I'm so sorry. So I actually am using my daughter's laptop, and her name is Erin, but really my name is Sharon. So I apologize for that. And I will try and change that here. Thank you.
You're good. Thanks, Sharon. I think I can share my screen now. All right, are you guys able to see this little PowerPoint? Hopefully you are. So like I said, I'm from Multicultural Student Services. A little bit of overview of what we have to offer over at UVU and our Multicultural Student Services is academic advising. So I'm an academic advisor. We have a few multicultural initiatives so students can get involved with our initiatives. We have the Native American Initiative, the Pacific Islander Initiative, the Latino Initiative, the African Diaspora. We do have an LGBTQ Student Services within Multicultural Student Services as well. And so students are able to join these initiatives, to get involved, to help plan events and activities and find resources for them to succeed at UVU. We also have a couple of student leadership opportunities within our department. We have what's called the Multicultural Student Council, where students can learn how to become leaders, sharpen their skills as leaders, plan events for the student population. And then we have the Cultural Envoy Leadership Program, where students are able to learn how to dance and share their culture at the university, share the culture to students in the K-12 school system, travel. And so there are a lot of great opportunities for our students to learn about their culture, to learn how to be leaders in the community. And so we always recommend those things to our students. I will talk a little bit about our Cultural Diversity Scholarship. It's a scholarship that comes from our department. So I'll talk about that here in a second. But also our department also holds lots of events, the Native American Powwow, Bachata Fest, MLK Commission, the MLK week is this week. So we've been doing a lot of stuff with MLK. Lots of socials and activities within our department so students can get involved. We like to consider ourselves a home away from home. Students can come to UVU and feel comfortable and have the right resources for them. And then we also house a lot of student clubs. So I'm the club mentor for the Native Wolverine Association, which is our Native American club on campus. So opportunities for students to get involved with other Native American students, become part of the presidency and plan different events for our students. So like I said, I'm an advisor, so I help with UVU applications. So you don't have to be a student yet to get my help. I would love to help you with the UVU application, help you get enrolled and started at UVU, register for classes when you need to, help you find those scholarships. UVU has a lot of scholarships available for our students, but so I can help with that, but I also help students with their tribal scholarships. A lot of the tribal scholarships ask for various documents and requirements, and sometimes that's very confusing for students. So I'm happy to sit down with you and take you around campus to find those things that you may need in order to turn in so you can get those scholarships. So if you ever need any help, I am here to help you with whatever you may need. And if I don't know it, if I can't specifically help you with a problem, then we'll find the right person for you. So I'm happy to help however I want, however you would like me to. Here's just some of our advisors, Lucy, David, myself, and Elizabeth. Like we said, we're here to help you. If you want to take a screenshot of that, my contact information's there with my email, my phone number. If you do need my help, I'd be happy to. All right, so a little bit about one of the scholarships from Utah Valley University. It's called the UVU Academic Merit Scholarships. If you want to take a screenshot of this, that would be probably good as well. This scholarship is based a little bit on your ACT or SAT score and your GPA. And so, as you can see, there's a little grid there. And so say you have a 4.0 and you got a 36 on your ACT, then you would see that you would be at the P level. And P down here, as you can see, means presidential. And so you could be qualified. This isn't guaranteed, but this is how it breaks down. So if you are in that P level, you would get a full tuition scholarship for 4 years. So that's 8 semesters. And so that will be until you get your bachelor's degree, or 4 years, whichever comes first. If you are awarded this and say you want to go on a mission, or you're going to go defer and go to the military, you can defer it until you come back. And so it's really good to apply to UVU and get these scholarships, because you can defer them until when you actually start. Say you apply to UVU for this fall, but then end up deciding you want to do a church mission, or you're going to join the military or something like that. You can defer, and your scholarship will be waiting for you when you get back. So as you can see, if you're in the P range, it's a 4-year scholarship, and it will cover your full tuition and general student fees. If you're in that E range, you are going to get the exemplary if you do qualify, and that's another 4-year scholarship, and that's $4,000 a semester. So $4,000 for the year. So that's $2,000 for fall and $2,000 for spring. UVU scholarship, or UVU tuition, excuse me, is roughly $3,000 a semester, and so that $2,000 a semester takes a big chunk out of it. And this is not even including the FAFSA that you will want to do, and other scholarships that you can apply for. And so it pays to do good in school, to have a good GPA and a good ACT. For outstanding students, that's the O. This one is a 2-year scholarship. It pays $1,750 a semester, so $1,750 in the fall and $7,250 in the spring. So there's a lot of good opportunities for you if you have the good grades and you have a good ACT. I can't see anything in the chat right now, but if you do have questions, you can chat, or you can just go ahead and just ask. I won't be offended if you interrupt, because you probably have a good question. So take a screenshot of that. So you're probably wondering how you would qualify for that. Students will get automatic consideration for these scholarships. And that's if students have completed the following by March 1st, 2022, which is in about a month and a half, have applied and have been admitted to UVU by then, have provided the admissions office with your high school transcript, and you've submitted an ACT or SAT score. So students who are seniors, you can go ahead and be applying for UVU. The main deadline is August 1st of this year for fall semester, but if you want to do everything by March 1st, you can be considered for this scholarship. And so you want to do that as soon as you can. And like I said, if you need help, I am happy to help you apply to UVU. So that was just one scholarship. UVU has a lot of different scholarships. And in order for you to get a UVU scholarship, you must be admitted into UVU. So this is what we would like you to do: to complete the UVU application, complete the 2022-2023 financial aid, the FAFSA, and we will hear from our FAFSA representatives later tonight. So you want to have those 2 things done as soon as possible, before March 1st. Once you've completed those 2 things, then you can start applying for different scholarships. And I've put the website here, but you can also find it on our website as well, the scholarship link. So once you go to this link, you're going to fill out an application for scholarships. And the very first part of the scholarship application is going to ask you various questions about yourself, race, ethnicity, gender, if you've been involved in the community. And based on these different answers, you're going to be matched to different scholarships. And so once you finish that questionnaire, there's going to be hundreds of scholarships that you can apply for within the scholarship website. And that March 1st deadline is right here. So I'll show you kind of what that scholarship website looks like. So once you've applied for the scholarship and you've done the questionnaire, this is just an example of what the page will look like. As you can see, there's various scholarships that you can apply for. You can just view them. And as you can see, it says matches up here on the top left corner. Any scholarships that you're matched with based on that questionnaire, it will show up here on the scholarship website and you can apply for them. And so we want you to do this as soon as possible because a lot of the deadlines are March 1st, 2022 for UVU scholarships. There are external scholarships with different deadlines. And so you want to keep those noted as well. Just really quick, I wanted to talk about one of the scholarships that's going to show up on this page for you students. This is a scholarship that comes from our Department of Multicultural Student Services. It's called the Cultural Diversity Scholarship. This is a needs-based scholarship, so that means you are going to have to complete the FAFSA. You are going to have a 2.5 GPA. New students coming in, as long as if you get awarded, you can, as long as after your first semester, you keep that 2.5 GPA, it will renew until spring semester. The scholarship also requires a letter of admission, and you must be a full-time student and a Utah resident. And so students, if you are from one of the 8 tribes of Utah, Navajo, Goshu, Paiute, Ute, Shoshone, any of those tribes, if you have cousins, they will get in-state tuition at UVU, even if they're not from Utah. So if you have a Navajo cousin who lives in Arizona, as long as they have their certificate of Indian blood, they will get in-state tuition at Utah Valley University. Or if you have a Goshu friend from Colorado and they have a certificate of Indian blood, then they will get in-state tuition. And so we want you to tell your families, your relatives, if they want to come to UVU, it is a cheap option for them to come. And like I said, the scholarship is for the fall and spring semester. Here's my contact information one more time. You can reach me by email, justin.allison@uvu.edu. You can also call my phone and we can meet that way. That's also our email, just for our department. And if you have questions, you can send them there as well, and they will get to me as well. This is our website. My contact information is there too. If you go under advising, I'm found under the advisors tab, and you can schedule an appointment with me, or you can find my phone number or send me a message and I can answer that way. And so any questions from anyone out there? I know I kind of went fast, but I wanted to get as much information to you all as possible. Sorry, I'm trying to stop sharing.
How many Native American students are at UVU currently?
Currently at UVU, we have over 700 Native American students, either full, partial, self-reported Native American students. And so that's why our club, the Native Wolverine Association, is one of the best clubs at UVU, because we have a lot of involvement for students to get involved in the community and different activities that we do. So I have the great opportunity to meet a lot of our Native students. And so Over 700 right now. Thank you for that question.
And for a first-year student coming out of high school, what would be a reason they would choose UVU to go to, if like the cultural part is significant to them?
Yeah, I mean, UVU provides a home away from home for our students. We are open enrollment. So say you maybe have been struggling in high school, or you're looking to renew yourself, UVU is a great option for you. We have a lot of great resources within our department, tutors. Our staff have gone through college and can help work with students. Our native club, like I said, just different things for students to get involved with. But if you want to have that higher education, that college experience, you've used the biggest public university in the state of Utah, and we're growing so much, and we just have a lot of awesome opportunities for students to have fun, to get a good education. And you get to meet other Native students and other Native staff that can help you on your journey. And so I totally recommend it. I have 3 degrees from UVU because I loved it so much.
I was wondering if the multicultural scholarship only applied to those tribes, or if
No,
the
the multicultural department, you don't have to be a specific tribe. It's for all students from various cultures. Everyone has culture. You may think that you don't have culture, but all students. So go ahead and apply for the Cultural Diversity Scholarship. There is an essay portion on the application. So it will ask you about how your culture is important to you and how you can use your culture to be a better person in the community, stuff like that. But all UVU scholarships are open to anyone, and so and this one is a part of that. And so go ahead and apply for it. But if there are specific tribal scholarships that a tribe that you are a part of, and you want to get those scholarships, and you're kind of confused on some of the requirements, come talk to me, and I can help you with that.
Sweet, thank you. I'll reach out to you.
Mm-hmm. Anyone else? Kevin, is that a raised hand?
You mind putting your contact info in the chat just so people can have it for later?
Yep, I can do that. All right. Kevin says, never mind. That's fine.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Justin. All of you high school students, if you are thinking of going to UVU, definitely contact Justin. He is a great resource. And also they have a Native club there that Justin really helps out with. So contact Justin if you need to. We are going to turn the time over to the MTECH representatives.
Hi, my name is Hiram Goebel. I'm an MTECH ambassador. We're student ambassadors, me and Belle Cahoon. With MTECH is not a 4-year college like BYU and UVU. However, we are a 2-year college, so that means that we're working more for certificates and licenses to work in a specific trade. So what you'll be doing at MTECH is getting into jobs. So a big thing with paying for college is, yes, scholarships, but also being able to get your own income in other ways. And we have a really affordable programs here at MTECH compared to a lot of other places in the state. Our prices for most of our programs are significantly lower, like thousands of dollars lower. So like I said, MTECH is a great place to come for most of these things. We do have FAFSA here for quite a few of our programs as well. It just depends on the program length. A lot of the programs that we have here are ranging from 4 months to a year and a half. We have programs in healthcare, emergency healthcare, services, computer technology, culinary arts and welding. So a lot of those things that you would want to be doing as a job or to start getting you into the field that you'd like to go into, we offer here. So like a lot of automotives as well. Sorry, I forgot about that one. Another thing with MTECH is that we have our own personal financial aid and our own scholarships, but we also do accept any outside scholarships because we are still a Utah college, but we are a trade school instead of a four-year graduate school. Another big thing with MTECH is that we are it's a smaller class sizes than most of the other bigger colleges here in Utah. So you'd be moving through with students that are around your same age and at the same pace usually. A couple of our programs are a little bit more personal based than others, and so you're moving with people. However, at MTECH, we are 100% acceptance rate because it is a trade school. As long as you're able to pass our entrance exam, which is about the same as a 10th grade C or D level average for your math and English. So our acceptance rates are really good, but we don't have anything specific to Native Americans or any cultures like that. We don't have any specific business programs. We do have, MTECH does offer trainings to other businesses on new software and stuff like that to kind of revamp their different businesses to the modern age, but there's nothing specific to business programs. It's more of, like I said, healthcare, cosmetology, which is a service, computers, emergency healthcare, welding, and automotive. Oh, and we also do have apprenticeships, so electricians, plumber. Sorry, I'm totally blanking all the rest of them, but so we don't have anything specific for different cultures. However, the acceptance rate is extremely high, and so we don't have. There's no problem for anyone to get in here, and we do have, for high school students especially, as most of you guys are high school students, you come in, and the biggest part about paying for MTECH is the tuition. For the tuition, it is waived by the state, and so the state ends up paying the biggest chunk of money that you'd be doing for most of these programs to go out and ultimately jump right into a job. That job, like I said, can help you pay for your college later as you go and further your degree in those specific places. And a couple of our scholarships that we are going to be talking about, actually my associate Bella Cahoon, who is another student ambassador, is over the scholarship side, so I'm going to leave it to her.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much, Hiram. If everyone can hear me, give me a thumbs up. The audio's been kind of, okay, perfect. The audio's been kind of off and on. So like Hiram said, that we are MTECH, we're Mountain Land Technical College. We do offer scholarships for our school. And like you said before, we do offer outside scholarships within the state of Utah. That is because we are a college or a technical college here in Utah, so we will accept the outside scholarships. A couple that I'm going to talk about, I'll just go through the list and then hit each one of them. So our first one is our Utah Promise Scholarship. So you can actually earn that here, and it is earned with a GED or similar to that. And so it will cover up to 2 years of tuition and fees. So we're a one-year college technically, but a lot of our programs can go over to 1.5 years to 2 years, depending on what program you take. So that one's an awesome one that can help pay for that. We also offer the Regent Scholarship, and those are for high school students that are attending our campus at MTECH. and they can receive that here as well. And I'll show, let's see if I can share my screen. I'll share in a bit about that one, but we have also a Utah Technical College scholarships, and that pays for school expenses within 12 months after the high school graduation date. So say that you come to our school as a senior or as a junior, and you finish your high school and you graduate. Well, the scholarship will offer to pay for what, like through the summer and until you finish, up to 12 months. So that one's an awesome one. Those are also for the ones that have completed one MTECH program, and they can also do another program if they want to. The next one is CTE scholarships, and these are for the outstanding CTE high school students in Utah are eligible to apply for that one. And then we have our Intermountain Healthcare Scholarship. This one's cool because it's designated for healthcare here at MTECH. So it is for adult students applying in this coming August or later in the following MTECH programs. We have a list of them, but I'll just read them off really fast. It's Central Sterile Technician, Emergency Medical Technician, Accelerated, and the Basic courses. The Pharmacy Technician, Phlebotomy Technician, Practical Nursing, Surgical Technology, Medical Assisting, Medical Billing and Coding, and Nurse Assistant. So those are all the medical programs that if you're interested in being in a medical program, that's an awesome scholarship to get through the Intermountain Healthcare Scholarship, which will offer awesome opportunities for you. The next one is just kind of more going to automotive. So it's the American Trucks Student Scholarship. And these are awarded, so 2,000 scholarships are awarded twice a year. So there are 4 given out every year. These are for students who are currently enrolled in a full-time in secondary schools, technical institute, or high school senior who are enrolled in one of the automotive institutes. So that kind of goes automotive. Those are good scholarships to get, especially $2,000 can help a lot. And they will be, they give them out in the semester of fall and then the semester of spring. So those 2 semesters are when they are given out. Apply as early as you can. We have our application dates on our website, which I'll pull up in just one moment. And then we have our American Muscle Student Scholarships. It's kind of the same thing. It's 4 scholarships for $2,000 that we give into students pursuing an automotive theme major. So say you come to MTECH and you take our diesel class or our diesel programs, you are eligible to sign up for this scholarship. And like I said in the last one, it's in the fall and spring semesters that those will be awarded. And then just to kind of go over financial aid, let me hop on this to see if I can share my screen. I'm kind of having some problems sharing my screen, which is fine, but. Okay, well, financial aid is pulled up. So maybe I'll just pull up financial aid really fast and see if it'll let me share my screen. Okay, let's see if this works. Okay, hopefully that's working. Okay, so this is kind of our financial aid part of our website. Our website can be reached at mtech.edu, and then it will pull up the home screen and you can put into the search bar if you have like what type of things you need. So like financial aid, scholarships, they have all that, coordinators. But right here in this, in the financial aid, So we work with FAFSA. So we do have scholarships that come from there for only certain programs. Not all of our programs offer that, but a big chunk of our programs do. Then just kind of to go over just like what we have for financial aid. You always want to apply early for the institutional, federal, and state programs required in order to attend. So you are eligible for FAFSA once you have been accepted into MTECH through the entrance exam, and we'll work through that. We have our financial aid office here at campus. We also have a couple different campuses. So if you're closer to Spanish Fork, we have a Spanish Fork campus. We also have one in Orem, Provo, Wasatch, and then I'm here at the Lehigh campus. And we all have a financial aid office there that if you're like interested or have questions, I will give you the number and stuff like that in the comments. I'll also give you an email that is our student ambassador coordinator, which is Akoya. So I'm Belle, but that will be someone else kind of taking over with that. We also have, so we have student services too. So that is I'll put all this information in the comments below. But this is like a good place to say if you like have questions about like, how do I register, or how do I get into this college, or what type of like, what will these things like help me like further into a career. And like Hiram said before, these our programs will place you right into a job. So it's not like earning a degree or anything, it's getting your certificates needed to get placed directly into a job. We have a 87% student job placement, which is really high, and that's our goal, is to get that even higher as we grow as a college. We also work with UVU. So UVU presented just not too long ago, but we also work with them with transferring credits over to them. So say you come here for one program, we have, and let's say that you wanted to take, let's do mobile development. Well, you'll get 7 credits that are able to transfer over to UVU, and you can finish out with UVU after you come here and do the program. We have lots of options, and yeah, any questions? If not, it's totally okay. I know I kind of talked really fast. So that is a great question, if it can also transfer to BYU. Currently, we only transfer to UVU. We don't transfer to BYU currently, just because we're still working that one out. But if you have more questions about like how you could transfer to UVU and then transfer those credits to BYU, I would definitely go to student services, and they can totally help you out with that. And we'll give you that. I'll give you the student services number. In fact, actually, Hiram already did. It's, yeah, perfect. Okay. Oh, awesome. That is taking the welding class. So yeah, we have a bunch of students here. It's a smaller campus, but our classes are awesome. They're taught by coordinators that have their degrees in what they are teaching. So it's not like we have like so many great coordinators here, and you learn so much while you're here at campus. It's an awesome opportunity, and I highly recommend it because I am actually a high school student as well. And I'm a senior, and I'm in a program here, and I'm loving it. Any other questions before I turn it back over? Okay, perfect. Okay, awesome. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Belle and Hiram. That was very, very informative. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. I am going to turn the time over to the American Indian Services representatives.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Meredith Lamb, and I am the Grants and Projects Manager for American Indian Services. And one of the programs that I oversee that I'm going to be talking to you guys tonight about is the trade program. But let me go ahead and pull up our presentation here for a second. Just want to make sure that you guys can see. Can everybody see that? Thumbs up, you guys can see it? Awesome. All right, and Belle, is it Belle, Bella, or do you go with Belle? Belle and Hiram. You guys did an awesome job, and I'm kind of going to refer to you here later on because you're actually a part of like our trade. So Hiram, I know earlier you said there's no programs that MTECH has for Native American students, but AIS actually has a way to help assist students, Native students, to apply for trade scholarships. So that would be where we come in to help you guys as far as, upping your Native American student body there. I just want to introduce to you guys one of our great, our executive director, who is Chama Key Jansen. And she is oversees our program, and I'm just going to kind of turn the time over to her so she can introduce herself, and we'll get started.
Hi, everybody. My name is Chamaki Jansen. In this presentation, we're going to talk a little bit about do an overview of American Indian Services. That's a scholarship organization. If you can go to the next slide, Meredith.
Give me 1 second. It was working a minute ago. There we go.
Okay, so in our presentation, we're going to discuss about 4 things with you. We're going to do an introduction. I'm going to introduce myself, who I am, and then do just a brief organizational interview about us at American Indian Services. Next, we're going to introduce the scholarship director. She's unable to be with us tonight because she has another commitment, but we will introduce her, who she is, and then also talk about the scholarship program that we have at our organization. And then 3, we're going to introduce, Meredith's going to introduce the trade school scholarship that we have. And then she's going to go over all of those requirements and maybe questions that you might have. Questions and comments will come at the end after the presentation. So let's go to the next slide.
Give me, there's just a little bit of a lag. There we go.
Okay, so my name is Chamaki Jansen. I'm the executive director. I actually grew up in Utah in a small town called Camas. And so I did receive a Utah public school education. My tribes are Navajo, and I'm an enrolled member of the Sioux Assiniboine tribe. I am actually a past scholarship recipient of the American Indian Student Scholarship, and I was able to receive my associate's degree from Utah Valley University, which is a great university. Good job, Justin, on presenting that. And then I was also able to complete my bachelor's of sociology at Brigham Young University, and then go on to do a master's of public administration also from Brigham Young University. Previously, before coming to American Indian Services, I was the human resource manager at the Urban Indian Center of Salt Lake. And I'm just so glad that I have this opportunity to come and work at American Indian Services, because for me, it's full circle. Being a student that received a scholarship from AIS and then coming and running the program here is just amazing. Getting to follow in the footsteps of the great Del Tini and his legacy that he left. and all the things that he accomplished. So I'm very proud that I'm able to do that. I'm very humbled to be in this position. Can you go to the next slide?
There we go.
Okay, so the main mission and vision statement of American Indian Services is that we're dedicated to helping Native Americans to have access to quality education while still preserving their cultural and honoring their culture and honoring their heritage. Our mission is to provide preparatory programs for children and financial assistance for those in the pursuit of a college degree. So the impact that our organization has had over the last 40 years, a little over 40 years, is that we are one of the nation's longest running American Indian scholarship organizations. We have served over 300 federally recognized tribes, and we have awarded over 37,000 scholarships since 2005, and that amounts to around $28 million that we have invested into Native American students. And this is across the country, not just in the state of Utah. We started out in the state of Utah, but we have surpassed that and have included the whole nation as well. So we are very proud of that fact, and we hope to reach more Native students every year and to provide that assistance. Right now, I'm going to turn the time over to Meredith, and she's going to talk about and introduce Irene and the scholarship program.
So Irene is literally the longest, aside from Dory, Stone, who is our financial director. Irene is like the second longest employee here at American Indian Services. So for those of you who have been in education for a while, you probably recognize Irene. She is the American Indian Services Scholarship Director. She comes from Hawaii. She grew up in Laie, which is on the North Shore of Oahu. She started working for AIS in 2001. So she's still here 20 years later. She's just made an awesome career out of, helping AIS. And so working very closely with the founder, Del Tingy. She does such wonderful things as far as, contacting and caring for our Native students. She brings a lot of experience, and I was able to attend National Indian Education Association conference with her this year. So that was really fun for her. I think it was interesting for her to be in, a conference where there were a lot of Natives, but Kamehameha Schools is also present there at the NIEA. And so it was really fun to see Irene really just fit in at home and talking to Native people and Native educators. I mean, she just fit right in there, but she really does care for Native students, being a Native Hawaiian herself. She knows the importance of education and preserving our cultural heritage. So with that, she's also our office manager. She is a woman who wears many hats. And we're just so grateful for Irene. She really is like one of the coolest people. And if you were a student calling and you get Niue or Irene, answering your phone call, they are just so awesome. They help you along the way, and they're incredible at what they do. So Irene currently lives in American Fork. She's got her 4 kids and her husband. And as you can see, she keeps our entire team laughing daily, and she's always telling her dad jokes. Every day we have a great dad joke that she brings up. So she just really is awesome with her humor, and she's always good for a Hawaiian poke bowl, which I don't know how many of you guys know that poke is like raw salmon. So it's something that Hawaiian people eat a lot. It's also like people who eat sushi are very familiar with like sashimi, but that's her favorite thing to eat. And Irene's just really one of the coolest people. And I'm just really grateful that we have her on our team, and especially her guiding the AIS scholarship program. So coming over here, let's talk about the scholarship program. The AIS Scholarship Program was created to help undergraduate Native American and Alaska Native students with financial support to attend college, help them maintain enrollment and graduate. The goal or the hope is that once a student receives their degree and is gainfully employed, that they will start helping other Native students receive education. And in turn, also something is just that they'll go back to their communities or their tribal communities and give back. Very much like Chama, I'm the same, I was on the same journey or path as far as, me going to undergraduate. I actually remember Chama in my undergraduate degree and, at BYU. And what was great about that was that we were both AIS recipients, and my father, who's a physician he worked many years on the Navajo reservation, was one of the earlier AIS recipients. He was able to go through his undergraduate program at BYU through the help of AIS, and eventually went to med school at Stanford. So there's just so many wonderful things that, can come from these scholarship programs. And so AIS is one that is dear to my heart. I never thought I would, end up working with AIS, but with my experience in education and running Title VI as a director, it was a very natural fit, to segue to AIS. It's just an awesome scholarship program. So with the application process, students must submit all required documents and complete their application online by the deadline. And that's really important because when you guys are applying for your scholarships, sometimes there are some Native students that are like pros at applying for scholarships. And the way they do that is sometimes they'll have a template of whatever their essay is. So you have a general template. And so you'll have people, and this is something that I did, you'll be applying to like 4 or 5 different scholarship programs, using sometimes the same essay, changing it maybe a little bit, just having a blueprint. But one of the most important things to that application process is preparation. Preparation is huge and it will go a long way. So definitely make sure you look at the website, see what is required. Irene's got it laid out so beautifully on our AmericanIndianServices.org website. It literally takes about 4 to 6 weeks for people to generally finish that application process. If you have everything prepared, you could cut that down pretty quickly. But it will take 4 to 6 weeks to get an answer once you have applied. So you can save yourself a lot of time just by preparing prior to submitting that final application. Students will receive an award email if their application is approved. Scholarship awards are solely based on up to 1/2 of tuition and need. We also, work with the accredited universities that we work with, or accredited schools as we call them. We do base a lot of the financial need off of that FAFSA. So we're in communication with your financial institution of whatever educational institution you decide to go to. We are just there to make sure that they're there to help you pay whatever you owe, and to make sure that we're helping you in your financial journey there, because we don't want you to go into student debt. Student debt can be a bad place to be. So that's why you would apply to all the scholarships that you can. So scholarship funds are sent directly to the school. We never send them directly to the student. And here is the deadline schedule for the scholarship program. These are we have them throughout the year because we want to extend the opportunity to Native students. And just like Chama said earlier, we don't keep it just based to our Utah students. We actually are a nationwide organization that helps over 300 tribes, students from over 300 federally recognized tribes. So award 1, as you can see, it opens January 1st with a deadline of February 1st. Award 2 is coming up. It'll open up March 1st and the deadline will be April 1st. Now award 3 is opening May 1st. So maybe you're you're in that boat where you're going to be accepted to BYU or UVU starting maybe August. And so you would go for award number 3. But I would start prepping your stuff now. I know senior year can be really busy, but it really does pay off. Preparation is rewarding. You know, procrastination can be probably one of the worst things, especially when you're having to meet all these deadlines. And then award number 4, which is opens at September 1st. The deadline is November 1st. And so there are more details on our website for you to see that deadline schedule if you are confused. But here's some really cool facts about AIS. And this is what I love, that Irene kind of gathered a lot of impact reports on our organization. And so these are some of the demographics that we were able to find. So 68% of the applications that come into AIS are actually females. 32% are from males. 86% of the students were single at the time of the application. 51% of graduating students went on to receive 2 or more degrees. And as you guys heard Justin earlier, he said that he had all 3 degrees from UVU. Very cool. And I know Justin, he's actually very famous. He's on our AIS webpage. So you'll see a familiar face if you go to our webpage. 7,117 number of AIS students that's the number of students who have earned degrees. So we're very, we love the opportunity to help students attain their educational aspirations. And so we will do whatever we can to help you do that. 12,672 are the number of degrees that AIS students have earned. And then 1.8 is the average number of degrees that the graduating students have earned. Now we are only, the scholarship program only funds, we do associates and the college university level. I'm kind of thinking of trade here, I'm sorry. For non-Utah trade programs, you would apply through the scholarship program. And this will become more clear as I go more into the trade program. So if you're not going to be applying to a Utah trade program like MTECH or any other trade in the state of Utah, you would apply through the scholarship program because we have a specific trade program for Utah trade students. And so this is where you would go if you are going out of state, but not applying for the Utah trade. I hope that makes sense. You guys we'll have questions later and I'll answer all your questions here. So that is me. Maybe it doesn't look like me. It's been a long day. Look a little bit scary here, but that is me, Meredith Lamb. And so I am the AIS Grant and Trade Programs Manager. I grew up in Arizona and most of my life I am Navajo. So Yat A, She'e Meredith Lamb, Yeneshe, Senji Kininshlen, Izathlana Bashas Chin. I grew up in Arizona most of my life in a small town by Lake Powell. I don't know if how many of you have been to Page, but that's where I grew up. It's a small little town right there by Lake Powell. Yeah, okay, Val, you've been there. Prescott is the other place I lived. I finished the last 3 years of high school at Prescott. And so that was an interesting experience for me, being in an area like Page, where about over 80% of the student body is in my schools were Navajo or other tribal entities. There was just such a diverse, I was surrounded by my culture growing up in Page, but moving to Prescott, I went to another extreme, the other extreme. So the dichotomy of my growing up with education, when I moved to Prescott, I was the only student in my as a Native American in my entire high school. So I was the only Native. And it was an interesting place to be. I kind of felt like, wow, this is such a change and a shift. So I felt it really important to to educate and to talk to people about my culture and my background, which is something that I was surrounded with every day. So it just was something that, you know, I lived with. And now I'm in the position where I'm actually having to talk about it. But the benefit of that was, you know, it segued me and it prepared me to attend BYU, where I was one of few Native American students at BYU. But one thing I learned, you know, in Prescott and being the only Native was the importance of speaking up and the importance of asking questions. And it's okay, you can, like, your teachers are there and, you know, ask questions. And so that's something that I really did learn. And I really felt like I was my own advocate in a lot of ways as far as looking for scholarships. I did it all by myself. I'm a middle child, so of 5 kids. So there was not a whole lot of time, you know, to really, mom, dad, can you help me? They're like helping all the other kids. And so it was really up to me to find, you know, my scholarship opportunities. And in fact, I applied for the SOAR program, which I saw Sharon Tapahe on here. I don't know if she's going to be speaking or already has spoken to you guys, but I applied for that program by myself. That was something that I did. I took the initiative and it paid off. I was able to get into BYU and receive my own scholarship. And then, of course, knowing about American Indian Services, that was one of the scholarships that I applied for. So in a lot of ways, I felt like what I have lived and what I've experienced in education, my educational journey has prepared me to where I am today. And so I'm happy and honored to be talking to you guys tonight, because I hope that, you know, the information we share with you is valuable and beneficial. So here's the number one question I get. What is the difference between a trade school and a college? All right, so trade schools offer programs that you can complete within 1 or 2 years. By narrowing the focus to a career-intensive curriculum, trade schools help students enter the workforce as soon as they are able to finish. So college students usually will take 4 years to earn their degree. Usually trade programs, they can take a lot shorter. And so this is a trend actually that's happening right now, because we are now living in society where we are faced with a pandemic. This is like something that hasn't happened in many, many years. And so it's brought out a lot of interesting pros and cons of the educational system. And one of the trends that has come from the pandemic that a lot of educators are seeing is the shift from a traditional college university path to trade schools or vocational, or I think, Belle, you called it something earlier. So trade schools, vocational schools, they are a faster way for students to get their degree and to move towards a professional, you know, job or an occupation. There are a lot of occupations available. Specifically, I think Hiram brought up healthcare. That is a huge field right now with the pandemic going on. There's been a high turnover rate of healthcare workers, high turnover meaning people quitting jobs. And so, but the pay for some of those jobs has actually risen because we see how important first care responders are. So with trade programs, you know, you can get right into your technical program or your trade program, and then you're out within like a year or two, and you're able to work and start earning money. So that has been a huge trend that we've been seeing, students going more towards the trade programs. I've actually even spoken to a couple of students who have gone through the university and wasn't able to get a job. They weren't able to get a job, so they turned to trade school and went to trade and got a job right after that. So another pro of a trade school career path is less debt, because it's no secret that trades are cheaper. You could spend a ton of money at a university versus doing a trade school program, you know, where you're not going to spend as much, but you also come out quicker and you come out with less debt. So we're fans of less debt. You know, as a Native American education specialist. That's like the number one thing that I'm always concerned. I always caution my students to not go into debt, to make sure that you're making like, responsible financial choices. And so one of the greatest things that you can do for yourself is apply for as many scholarships as you can. And so I love that AIS has rolled out this trade school scholarship program. And let's go ahead and talk a little bit more. So here's the question. Am I eligible for the AIS Utah Trade School Program? All right, so it's very similar to the scholarship program. Just make sure that you're enrolled or you will enroll with a trade school located within the state of Utah. You must be an enrolled member of a U.S. federally recognized American Indian or Alaska Native tribe. And I was actually having this conversation with Irene earlier today, and we were talking about how we were both she was presenting for a school district in Minnesota last night. And one of the questions came up about blood quantum. And so this is something that we've changed this year. And for parents and students, maybe the best way for me to relate this to you is if you are in Title VI, usually your parent or your grandparent had to either which one is your legal guardian, had to give your CIB number. If you didn't have a CIB number, you either used your parent's CIB or your grandparent's CIB. So that is really the same criteria that we require for you to qualify for AIS scholarships. So as long as you can prove your descendancy, if you don't have your own CIB because you don't meet blood quantum, you can use, we just need to see that either a parent or a grandparent has enrollment or has descendancy within that tribe. And it was interesting to me last night because when we were in this presentation for the school district in Minnesota, there are actually quite a few scholarship organizations out there that will just say you're not enough, your blood quantum's not enough to enroll into your tribal membership. Some of these organizations and scholarship programs are combining quantums. So say maybe you're like not quite meeting the blood quantum for Navajo, but you're also another tribe. And so you see some of these scholarship programs combining blood quantum from other tribes to basically qualify you for the program. The point of that is that we are just trying so hard to help our Native students the best we can. And so when you're reading our criteria for blood quantum, that's the best way I can explain it, because you guys are in Title VI, you understand what it takes to run. And so if you're in Title VI, you could apply for an AIS scholarship. You must be a high school graduate or enrolled in a trade school program. GD is accepted. So, age-wise, if you're a high school graduate, we invite you to apply. If your mom or your dad actually want to go back to school, they can apply too. We just ask that you haven't had previous AIS funding for an associate's, bachelor's, or other trade program. We really do try to set aside our funding for first-time applicants, but we will work with you to see how we can help, because every little bit helps when you're going through these scholarship programs and when you're going through school. One other thing is you must not have received previous AIS funding. I already went through that, sorry. Full-time or part-time status. We understand that when you are in school, sometimes you're going to have a job. If you're in a trade school program, we did this because we didn't want to cut out and disregard, parents or adults who have family already that are, say, working half the time and then needing to go to school, say, in the evening. So we're very flexible with that. If you're a full-time or part-time status, we will work with that. Minimum cumulative GPA must be 2.25. It must be established and maintained after the first semester or quarter of the trade program that you are in. And of course, Belle talked about this earlier too. We work with these accredited trade school programs. So we do need a FAFSA. And if I was to talk to Belle about financial aid, what that would look like is basically, we would communicate that this student, does qualify and it needs financial assistance. And then she would send me a tuition billing statement. And then I would say, okay, I'll pay this part of the students. Our organization will pay the part of the students what they owe or they're promised to pay. And so that happens once you're registered for the program, for that trade program. All right, preparation. This is just going to be a summary for all this application checklist. So keep in mind the difference between trade and scholarship is preparation. Don't be deceived. Just because a trade program is like less time doesn't mean that there is less requirements. You still have to make sure that you're preparing, and this is why. Each trade program has its own registration. It has its own registration requirements and deadlines. So it's really important that you complete all of the registration requirements prior to attending, or I'm sorry, prior to applying for the AIS Trade School Scholarship Program. So I know Belle was talking about welding. So for welding at MTECH, you've got to take a test. Is that correct, Belle? Like there's a test for that. They have different start dates for the welding program. There are materials that have to be purchased. So prior to even registering and getting into that program, there are steps that need to be taken in order for them to generate a tuition billing statement or saying, yes, this student is officially registered for this class. So there's steps with these trades prior to, it's not that you're automatically in. You still have to take some steps, prior to registering, because trades are different. Depending on what you go into. Welding is not going to be the same as, say, CNA requirements. They're all going to be different in what they require. But the outcome is awesome because you're not going to pay as much and you have less time. So apply early, give yourself some time to gather all the information. There's no harm in going to the website and just seeing what the checklist is. We have it laid out pretty beautifully there. Gather all of your academic information, all the documents you'll need, fill in all the required information, upload your documents, or download them to your computer. So then that way, when you apply, you've got them already there and you can upload it and send it through our application system. Enter your full name to sign the application, submit completed applications, and save or print a copy for your records. That's really important. Always save and print a copy. Get in the habit of doing that. That's going to be really important. So I don't know, is Eileen with us this evening? Is she here with us?
Yes, she is. She was here at the beginning. I don't know if she's still on the Zoom.
Oh, no worry.
She's here in the chat.
So for those of you guys who are here tonight, thanks for being so cool and listening to our information. If you have any more questions, you can look at our webpage at americanindianservices.org. We just put up a new website actually just a couple days ago. So if you want to explore the trade school program, the Utah Trade School program, go and look at it. Your guide you'll know you'll be there because Justin Allison is like at the very the very beginning. Justin from UVU, he just presented earlier tonight. But we really do love helping our Native students. And the reason why I was going to talk to Eileen, we had this same exact presentation earlier today for a Utah State Board of Education meeting this morning. And Eileen shared a really good testimony. So her son, Alfredo, actually is one of our first-time trade students who took part and took advantage of this trade school scholarship program. So Alfredo is at MTECH doing the welding program. And he had that entirely covered. I mean, I think he only paid for the registration fee, which is like $40. But he's now doing like his dream. He's doing what he loves. And I think Eileen said earlier today that he was interested in doing business now, making a business out of, the trade of welding. And so I love hearing these stories. There are so many stories like this. Chama is a great example. I mean, we've all gone full circle of going to college, and then now we're working, and now we're helping Native students, which is an honor, and we love doing what we do. So please don't ever hesitate to call or ask questions. You can get a hold of us at any time. Our offices will be moving locations. We were in Salt Lake City, and we will be in American Fork here in the next, I think, couple months or so.
Lehigh. It's actually Lehigh.
It's technically Lehigh.
Yes.
So very exciting. Does anyone have any questions? I feel like I'm like Bueller.
It doesn't look like anyone has any questions, but if you would, you can always contact us later offline or by yourself if you don't want to, air your question publicly. We'd be happy to answer those offline, but there's a great team of people at American Indian Services ready to help you and ready to assist you in applying for our scholarships. And I'm so glad that we have, these avenues available, one for college and university, and then one for trade, because not everybody wants to go to a four-year university. So I'm glad that we have the opportunity to offer those scholarships to people that want to take other avenues of education rather than the four-year college. So I think we've used up our time, but if you do have any question, I think Meredith put her contact information in the chat right at the very beginning. So feel free to reach out to her or Irene.
Yes, you guys, thanks for taking the time, and we appreciate you. Good night.
Thank you, Meredith and Chama. That was awesome. So we are so happy to hear from you, and we're so grateful that you took the time to speak with us tonight. We'll go ahead and turn our time over to Trio. Let's see if they're still on.
Yeah, I'm here. It's Frenely.
Oh, there you are. Okay.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me be a part of this. So my name is Frenely, and I am an advisor with TRIO, specifically the Educational Opportunity Center, and we are housed in UVU. So I do know Justin, and my office is just right below his. And so it's awesome to be here. And the Nebo School District is important to me because I've lived in the school district, Spanish workforce PACE now for about 5 years. So yeah, it's happy to be here tonight. So I wanted to share my screen and go over kind of what I do, my program, and then briefly go over the whole financial aid FAFSA process. So let me just share this real quick. Okay, can everybody see my screen? Let me get this out of the way. Okay, so the TRIO Educational Opportunity Center, we are a grant-funded program housed at UVU, and we serve first generation and or low-income students with disabilities. We work with veterans as well that are US citizens or residents or refugees or in the process of or who have asylum as well. We provide support to high school seniors and college students, as well as individuals in the community with support. Specifically, one of the main things that we do is FAFSA, financial aid support, scholarship help. We also do help with admissions, registration, and connecting to resources. And what's great about our program is we're not limited to, while we are housed at UVU, we're not limited to helping only students that go to UVU. So we're able to help high school seniors who want to go to MTECH or BYU or another university or college close by with that whole process as well. And so as far as FAFSA goes, the new application is open now for the 22-23 year. So this is for the fall of this year. that school year. And here are just some of the deadlines for that. But the sooner that you can complete it, the better, because the process sometimes can be lengthy if you are chosen for verifications, or sometimes, you can run across problems or things like that. So the sooner you can get started on that, the better. So what is the FAFSA? So that's an acronym for the Free Application for Federal Student Aid, which is basically just an application that you fill out that can help you receive federal student aid, like grants, work study, and loans. And the website for that is studentaid.gov. And so there are 4 different types of financial aid. The first being a grant, which is money that you don't have to pay back. So a word that you'll want to know is a Pell Grant. That's what the word you want to be familiar with when it comes to FAFSA, because a Pell Grant is the money that you don't have to pay back to the government if you're awarded that. And then there's also scholarships that Justin spoke a lot about at UVU. And so if you plan on attending UVU, you want to apply for scholarships, the deadline March 1st, so keep that in mind. And then there's also work study, which I highly recommend. I did this as an undergraduate student. I went to UVU, which is a great school, by the way, highly recommend it. And I worked at the Multicultural Center as a work study. And so if you're able to get that, and even if you're not awarded that, you can also request it and possibly be awarded that. If once you apply and it doesn't show up as an award, you can still request that. And then the other type is loans. And there are a few types of loans, typically subsidized and unsubsidized. Subsidized meaning the government pays for the interest while you're in school, and subsidized, the government doesn't pay for it and it starts accumulating. So those are the different types of aid. As far as eligibility, as long as you have obtained a GED or in the process of graduating with your diploma, you can apply for FAFSA. You also need to be a citizen, US citizen, or resident with a green card, or be a refugee, have asylum status, or any of the other statuses listed right here in the graphic. So a huge tip that I recommend is before starting your FAFSA is making sure that you have all of the proper documentation, paperwork, information you need, because there's nothing more frustrating than making the appointment, scheduling, sitting down to do it, and then finding out that you don't have all of the right information and having to reschedule. So make sure that you have all of your information ready to go. Specifically, you're going to need things like your social security number, alien registration number if you're not a US citizen. One of the most important things is income taxes. So if you're applying for the 22-23, they will go off of your 2020 tax returns and W-2s. So keep that in mind. And also just information on bank statements, investments, and anything like that. And if you are considered a dependent student, which most of the students in high school will be, if your dependent means you're under 24, not married, not in the military, and don't have children, then you will also need to provide parent information. Most of this information here in your parents, make sure you have your information and your parent information if you are a dependent student. So this is what the website looks like, and they recently changed their format a few months ago within this last year. So it will look a little different if you haven't gone to it in a while. So the first step that you'll want to do in the process, if you've never filled this form out, is to create an FSA ID. So it's basically an account, a user name and password, so that you can complete the application. So the FSA ID is just your account username and password, and you need it to be able to sign your application at the end once you've completed it, and then you sign and submit it. And your parent also needs to create one so that they can sign your application as well. So the student and the parent both need to sign it at the end. So it's very important that at the beginning that you both create that. It's easier if you do it together. Student does it, parent does it, then you fill it out, and then you both sign it. And so once you create your FSA IDs, then you start the application. It'll go through a portion where you fill out a bunch of questions, student demographics, and then you'll list the schools that you'd like FAFSA to receive your information by putting in codes. And then you answer dependency status questions, fill out parent information if you're a dependent, and then provide your financial information and then parent information if you're a dependent. And after you fill that all out, then you sign and submit it, as well as the parent. And then after submitting, so this is very important, you want to make sure that it was processed. So at first you'll kind of get a notification saying it's been submitted, but then you want to make sure that you receive an email saying that it's been processed successfully, because sometimes there can be an issue. If it's not processed successfully, then your school cannot receive your information. And sometimes you'll get missing signatures or action required if there's any issues with that. And so yeah, that's important to remember. And then a lot of people ask me, how much will I get? You know, how much money will I get? So it really depends on your, and I heard they're gonna eventually get rid of this. They haven't told me when, but it's called the EFC, or the Estimated Family Contribution, which is basically what they calculate that you and your family can help contribute to your college costs. And so the lower your EFC, then the more you're able to receive for your Pell Grant. So they take a bunch of different factors into consideration, and that kind of gives you your EFC. And then once you submit your application, it'll give you an estimated amount of what your Pell Grant and your loans can be. And just remember that that's just an estimate, that they will send your information to your school, and then your school will determine how much they will actually award you. And so other tips, a lot of students I've come across have had issues because they don't realize that once they fill out their FAFSA, they need to actually follow up with their school. It doesn't mean, oh, everything's good to go, because many times students will be chosen for verifications. They want extra tax information or to fill out a dependency form or things like that. So make sure that you're following up with your university or college's financial aid office or website, going into your student account and seeing if there's anything in there that you need to do so that you're actually receiving your Pell Grant or your loans or whatever your awards are. And then also remember to apply for scholarships as well. And so we'd love to help anybody with this process. We know it can be difficult and, you know, not the funnest application to fill out. So we'd be happy to help anybody do that. And I can put my information in the chat as well. But we have 2 advisors. So I'm Frontalee and I'm the full-time advisor. We have a part-time advisor, and you can text us, call us, schedule an appointment with us, and we can walk you through that whole process and anything else with that. I wanted to add admissions too. We do have some waiver codes that we can help with for the admissions fee, if that's anything that anybody would be interested in. And yeah, I believe that's it. So thank you so much for letting me talk about financial aid.
Thank you so much, Frenely. That was so informative. Can any students contact you? They don't have to be going to UVU, is that correct?
Yes, exactly. So as long as they're a high school senior, we are able to support them and work with them. If they're going to a school within the Utah County area, even if it's Slick, I believe we can still help them with all of that process.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for your time. That was a wonderful presentation.
Thank you for having me.
I am going to turn the time over to Natalie Billy, and she is going to discuss our parent committee scholarship.
Okay, can everybody hear me? Okay. All right, let me start just by sharing my screen real quick. Maybe. Okay, so this is Nebo Indian Education's website. It's indianeducation.nebo.edu is the website, the web address. And I just want to go into right here into scholarships. Anybody's welcome to look at our list of scholarships. We have lots of stuff on here, but the one that I'm going to talk about is this one, the Nebo Title VI Parent Committee Scholarship. If you click into it, it's done electronically. So all you have to do is go in. Eligibility is you have to be American Indian or Alaskan Native, and have a federal 506 form filled out with our Title VI office. And if anybody needs that, you can contact any one of our any one of our staff here. And you need to be a senior with Nebo School District. Will be attending an accredited college, university, or technical or vocational school. Your GPA must be above 3.0. Scholarship can be used towards tuition or books. So the scholarship is sent directly to the school. The application's actually pretty easy to fill out. There's the just the general application, which is just basic information. There is part of the application right down here where you have to upload a photo. There's an essay portion, and then upload your transcript, your parent or legal guardian information, and a signature, and that's pretty much it. This scholarship is for $500 usually. Last year, we were actually able to give away 5 of them. So you never know how many we will be able to give away. It all depends on funding. And we've given away over 50 of these scholarships over the years. So just, I mean, it's great. And that $500, even though it doesn't sound like a lot, that can be a couple of books. That can be the rest of your tuition if you've gotten other scholarships. So anyway, that's all that we have. This is for Nebo School District. This is from our parent committee. They raise funds every year by doing various taco sales and different things at our events. So it's a really easy application if you just want to apply for that one. And Anna, I'll turn it back over to you.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Natalie. So that just kind of wraps up our scholarship night. But our Title VI staff just wanted to thank all of you college representatives and scholarship program organizations for taking the time to share this information. If it's okay with you, we'd like to send out your contact information to seniors in our district. And then also, we've been recording this Zoom meeting. So if you are okay with it, we would like to send that out as well. So if you could just in the chat say, I am okay with the recording and sending out my information, that would be great. But thank you guys so much for joining us. Perfect. So thank you so much. And Eileen, did you have anything else you wanted to add before we head out? Okay, perfect. Well, thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Thank you guys.